Let's bring in political analyst Thamsanqa Malinga, who will be giving us more around the historic and significant eventful day that saw President Cyril Ramaphosa sworn in for a second full term in office. Let's bring in Thamsanqa Malinga. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. It's been quite an eventful and historic day. I mean, the president sworn in for a second full term in office. He said South Africa has now begun a new era. Talk to us a little bit about the significance of that.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening to the viewers at home. I think the president was trying to just instill hope for the next coming 30 years, given the fact that we just come from the 30 years. And you would have noted that he spoke in detail about the past government of national unity. So he was trying to give people the sense of hope that the country had in 1994.
He has also vowed to fight inequality as power sharing begins. But of course, the fragile coalition with the DA, which is ideologically at odds with the ANC social welfare traditions and seen by many as perhaps catering to the interests of the white minority, which it denies. What will need to, of course, be observed very closely at this stage, because we know that Ramaphosa will soon be talking policy and a lot of observation will be needed.
Yeah, with him talking about fighting inequality, I think it was just the theme of his speech, where he was just trying to get everyone to rally behind him as a leader and the government that's incoming. He spoke quite a lot in terms of what is it that the people of the country have mandated the government to do. You know, he spoke about, he kept on saying, our people have spoken, our people have spoken, and he in that way, he was trying to, I think he was one of the things that he was trying to do is to, one, get the guys that are outside of the coalition, of the government of national unity to see the bigger picture and come in. And at the same time, he kept on talking about, you know, policies, as especially he made mention of the international policy, South Africa's international relations policy. So you know that the ANC and the DA are not seeing eye to eye in terms of what's happening in Israel. So in that way, he was also trying to build consensus around the government governing with the DA to say that we need to have a bigger picture and be the paragon of human rights in the world that we are as a country. That is why he was talking about, you know, the issues of inequality. Let's make sure that we still remain as the paragon of human rights and as the paragon of a country that's always fighting for the just causes.
What we do know is that the two political opponents have agreed to a common agenda of fixing the country's infrastructure, providing basic services like water and power, creating jobs. But of course, the formal discussions around policies aimed over and above what's happening outside the country, but rescuing the failing economy. There are clearly many challenges ahead to navigate, including the potential ideological disagreements within this government of national unity. Yeah,
with the coalition, you know that there are the 11 growth points that they've identified, and one of those, I mean, the three key are capital investments, structural reforms, and fiscal stability. So I think that is what they are going to just keep on working on. The one thing that he's also tried to emphasize a great deal in his speech. So in essence, it was for me, it was a lackluster speech, but he tried in great detail to make sure that he just rallies every party that's in government, that's going to be in the National Assembly as well, just to make sure that let's go forward as a country.
How much of a risk do you think this could be for the opposition? Could we see it becoming volatile?
You mean the government of national unity?
The DA.
The DA as a party being volatile to the ANC.
Yes.
As a governing party. it's going to be very difficult for the president. One of the things that I noted when he was speaking is that now will he be able to head all the cats that his party has brought along? Their policies and the DA's policies are just quite different, but now it's just a matter of him being able to head the cats. And being Cyril Ramaphosa, he was there in the first government of national unity. He helped broker the deal, so he's got to go back and draw from that and make sure that he's able to make sure to rein the DA in terms of his vision for the country and his vision for the vision of his party. So it's going to be very difficult. It's not going to be a very easy ride for him and his party. And all of this is still going to go back to his party again. If we go back to his party again, there's just a lot of disagreements around this. We know that there are people that do not support this vision. So it's just going to be a tough terrain for him to navigate within his party and also trying to head the DA and other parties that are in this government of national unity and the parties that he wants to bring into the government of national unity.
We also heard him warning against those who seek to stand in the way. He spoke about inflaming tensions, undermining institutions, of course making no mention of names, yet it was no coincidence that former President Jacob Zuma's MK party didn't attend the inauguration.
Yeah. At that point, he sounded like a pastor who's using his sermon to fight his battles in the church. He was trying to rein everyone in, but he tried difficult. How can I put it? He just was trying so hard to make sure that, come on, guys, let's get into this boat together. But at that point, for me, it sounded like a pastor who's fighting his battles. There's not much that is happening that we can say that, people are trying to stroke violence and all of that. But he sounded as someone who's saying, do not listen to people who are, as if we are on the brink of civil war, sort of.
We know that his next moves are around appointing a cabinet in the next coming days, which is to include the DA and the three other smaller parties. And together, that coalition will account for 68% of seats in parliament. What should we expect?
Well, there seems to be not much scrambled in terms of the deputy president, because everyone has been saying, well, John Esthuis is going to be the deputy president, but I don't see that much scramble with that. I see the DA wanting to get into the presidency office, and I see them wanting to get into portfolio committees where they're going to be able to rein in ministers. And in terms of positions that are linked to the security cluster, I see him holding them too close to him and within his party and not letting those ones go. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to look at in terms of how he's going to dish out the positions. But I don't see that much of a problem with him. The only problem now that he might experience is in terms of the number of cabinet members. We remember that in the past he had, in the last cabinet, he had about 30 ministers and 36 deputy ministers. So let's see how he manages that with the government of national unity, because he's got to also pass some measures to the other people that have formed government with him.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for your time. Political analyst Thamsanqa Malinga there, giving us a sense of today and the significance as well as the impact of today's inauguration ceremony.